What if Wolverine's claws, his very identity, were destined to end the world? In Wolverine, Deep Cut #1, Logan uncovers a terrifying secret in his own DNA, one that turns his greatest strength into a ticking time bomb. And his only ally? Sabretooth. Prepare for a journey that could change the future. It's been years since Wolverine escaped the horrors of Weapon X, but his past never stays buried. Logan is tracking rumors of a shadow organization experimenting on mutants deep in the forests of Canada. His instincts lead him to an abandoned lab, long thought destroyed. This is where it begins, the place where Wolverine discovers the truth about his creation, one that had been hidden for over a century. As Logan moves through the overgrown ruins, flashes of memories, painful ones, hit him hard. The needles, the metal, the claws being forged into his bones. But something else lurks here, something even darker. Logan finds records in the lab that date back to his earliest days at Weapon X. But they're not just about him. These files contain data on dozens of mutants. Mutants who no longer exist, wiped from history. And at the center of it all, a project labeled Deep Cut. The files indicate that when Logan was first implanted with adamantium, he wasn't the only one experimented on. Others were injected with a hidden gene sequence that ties directly into Wolverine's DNA, a genetic time bomb. Suddenly, the scent of blood hits his nostrils, and he knows someone else is here, a familiar presence. It's Sabretooth, his eternal rival, who's been following the same trail for reasons Logan can't yet understand. What's shocking is Sabretooth doesn't immediately attack. Instead, he mutters something strange before lunging. "You're not the only one they broke, Logan." And the fight begins. The fight is brutal, with Logan and Sabretooth slashing through trees, bones cracking and healing in a violent blur. But there's something off. Sabretooth isn't fighting to kill, he's fighting to survive. The two combatants reach a standoff, both bloodied and exhausted. That's when Sabretooth drops a bombshell. "You think you're the only one, don't you? The only freak they played with?" He reveals a scar, deep and unhealed. For the first time, Wolverine sees fear in Sabretooth's eyes. Sabretooth explains that Weapon X planted more than just adamantium in their bodies. They implanted a sequence designed to activate after a specific number of years, slowly destabilizing their regenerative abilities. It's not just about killing them, it's about turning their powers into weapons of mass destruction, designed to tear apart the fabric of time and space itself. Wolverine's healing factor, once the key to his immortality, is now a ticking bomb, eroding reality at the cellular level. The kicker? Sabretooth has been trying to track down the scientists responsible for this, but there's no cure, only a race against time to find a way to stop the inevitable. Sabretooth's wounds are already not healing as they should, his body breaking down faster than Logan's. And Logan is next. Despite their history of brutal clashes, Wolverine and Sabretooth realize they have no choice but to work together. Their only lead is a name from the files: Dr. Riker, a rogue scientist from the original Weapon X program. Riker disappeared decades ago, but rumors place him on a remote island, conducting secret experiments on mutants to harness their powers for something far more sinister than even Weapon X imagined. It's not just about controlling mutants, it's about controlling time itself. Logan and Sabretooth form an uneasy alliance, tracking Riker to a fortified island that's guarded by a private army of enhanced mutants. These aren't just any mutants. They've been modified using Wolverine's DNA. Logan is faced with twisted versions of himself, each possessing accelerated healing, enhanced strength, and worst of all, the ability to manipulate their own timelines. These mutants can phase in and out of reality, creating alternate versions of themselves in battle. Every fight feels like they're battling ghosts of the future and past at once. Upon reaching the island, Logan and Sabretooth realize they're walking into a trap, but it's one they can't avoid. Inside the facility, they uncover horrifying experiments, clones of Wolverine and Sabretooth, all bred to be weapons of war. Some of these clones are unstable, their healing factors warping their bodies into grotesque forms, their minds shattered. Others have learned to master time itself, blinking through moments, phasing in and out of existence. Logan fights with his mind as much as his claws, forced to confront versions of himself that never should have existed. As they delve deeper into the facility, they discover Riker's ultimate plan: to unleash the destabilizing powers of Wolverine and Sabretooth's DNA across the world, using their genetic code to corrupt time and reality. Riker has created a machine that amplifies their powers. If activated, it will create a tear in the timeline so catastrophic it could erase entire futures, resetting the world into chaos. The deeper they go, the more Logan begins to feel the effects of the destabilization. His healing factor starts glitching, small cuts don't heal as fast, his stamina falters, and for the first time in decades, he feels real pain. But the worst part isn't the physical damage, it's the memories. As his body begins to fail, Logan's mind is flooded with visions of alternate lives, versions of himself where he never became Wolverine, where he stayed with his family, or even became a monster like Sabretooth. These fractured timelines haunt him, making it harder to distinguish reality from illusion. Sabretooth too is unraveling, but he fights with a desperation Logan has never seen before. Despite their shared past, something has changed in him. Sabretooth isn't just fighting for survival, he's fighting for redemption. It becomes clear that Sabretooth blames himself for what he's become, and though he'll never admit it, he's seeking to right some of the wrongs that haunt him. In the heart of the facility, they confront Dr. Riker. He reveals that the destabilization of their DNA was intentional from the start. He never wanted to create mere soldiers, he wanted to create living paradoxes. Wolverine and Sabretooth are the key to his ultimate experiment. They are living weapons designed not just to kill, but to unravel the very fabric of existence. Their regenerative abilities are tied to the timeline itself, and Riker plans to use them to create a new reality where he controls everything. Wolverine and Sabretooth are forced into a final battle against Riker's enhanced mutant army, as well as each other. But this time, it's not about vengeance. It's about survival. The machine begins to hum to life and time itself starts to warp around them. In this distorted reality, Wolverine sees visions of his past mistakes, lives he could have led, people he could have saved. Sabretooth too sees the monster he became and the man he might have been. Logan realizes that the only way to stop the machine is to destroy the core of his DNA, the very thing that makes him Wolverine. He will have to sacrifice his healing factor to prevent the machine from tearing the timeline apart. Sabretooth, still clinging to his survival instincts, refuses to let it happen, urging Logan to find another way. But there is no other way. In a gut-wrenching final decision, Wolverine enters the machine, knowing that this act will erase his healing factor and possibly his life. As the machine disintegrates around him, Logan feels the last remnants of his enhanced abilities fade. He can finally feel pain, exhaustion, and the creeping sensation of mortality. With the machine destroyed, time stabilizes, but at a cost. Logan emerges wounded, exhausted, and for the first time truly mortal. Sabretooth is gone, his fate left uncertain. The facility is in ruins, but the implications of what they uncovered still hang in the air. Wolverine has saved the future, but at the cost of his immortality. The final scene shows Logan walking away from the destruction, scarred and broken, with one lingering question haunting him. If I can die now, when will it happen? The paradox remains. Did he truly stop the unraveling, or has time merely slowed its inevitable collapse? And that was just the beginning of Wolverine's most mind-bending battle yet. Reality's been shattered, alliances broken, and Logan's left to face an uncertain future without his healing factor. But this story's far from over. What's next for the man who's always survived? Stay tuned to find out how Wolverine fights his way through the chaos of time itself. Don't miss the next chapter. Hit that subscribe button and join me for the ultimate showdown. See you in the next video.